Greetings, true believers. Drill Pal, Spider-Man. Good morning, Cadre. It's KJ. First of all, it's Veterans Day, so happy Veterans Day to all those who are serving and have served. Both of my grandfathers were veterans. My dad's a veteran. I'm a 15-year veteran of the Air Force, and I got two cousins that are veterans. One is still serving, one is out. So thank you for everybody who've decided to give up some of their life to support the military and help protect our country. I appreciate it. So I'm wearing my VFW t-shirt today. Lifetime member of VFW Post 4195, Knob Noster, Missouri, and help them out every week for bingo, raising money for veterans. Really enjoy it. So yesterday we had our first meetup in a few years for the Kansas City wet shaving group. We're going to try to start doing meetups once in the fall, once in the spring. We had to reschedule the fall one, so we're doing it a little bit late, but we'll have another one in the spring in the Kansas City area. This one was in Knob Noster. We had it at my VFW post. We had 8 people show up, which, considering everybody had to drive a little bit of a distance since I'm kind of out in the country, we had a good meetup. We actually had one member, Jacob, who traveled from Hays, Kansas, and he drove 5 hours to get to the meetup, which is pretty incredible to think that someone would drive that far just to attend a meetup of wet shavers. But he lives like out in the middle of nowhere. He's actually closer to Colorado than he is to Missouri. But nothing like this ever happens near him, so he wanted to make the drive. I think he's got family in Kansas City, so he makes the drive often anyways, I guess. So it was good to see you there. Talk a little bit about some of the stuff that I got from the meetup before I start my shave. So this was an interesting trade with Jacob, actually. I had Tallow & Steel's Maya, and I had Tallow & Steel's Boreal. And to me, they weren't the same, but they were very similar. And after smelling them both, I'm like, well, I don't really need to have both of them since they're so similar. So I actually like the Boreal a little bit better. And so I put the Maya out for sale or trade. And Jacob had the West Indies, which when the crematorium was having a fire sale and getting rid of all the Tallow & Steel, I tried to buy this and put it in my cart, and by the time I checked out, it was sold out. So I didn't actually get this one. So he had this one and didn't care for it, and so we ended up just trading our Tallow & Steels. From the raffle, I also got the aftershave with it. From the raffle, I got the Oz Shaving Company's Yellow Brick with the aftershave. Really good artisan out of Overland Park, Kansas, right in the Kansas City area, so a local vendor for me. Really good smelling. I love the smell of the Yellow Brick. It's just a very light, clean, fresh kind of scent. And I've gone through some samples, and I do enjoy the leather a lot. The last trade I did was for some Bear Stearns Man First Snow, along with the aftershave. I did this with Dave, who helped me put the meetup together. I believe he said he got that from Dave in Kentucky from the Shaving Cadre as a piff or a trade or something. So I just traded that with him for a couple of my items. And finally, I sold a couple things and used that money to turn around and buy a Rockwell Model T adjustable. So this is very similar in design and look to the Fat Boy. You can see on the bottom it looks pretty much just like a Fat Boy or a Slim with the way the mechanics goes. It's got a TTO knob on the bottom, which opens up the butterfly doors. You can put your blade in there, which I put a brand new Persona in it, and then it has an adjuster knob. Now this adjuster knob goes from 1 to 6, but it's a very fluid knob, so you can stop it at any point. You can set it at a 4.5, or you can set it at a 4 1/4, just whatever you want to set it at. It doesn't have detents like a Fat Boy where it clicks into position, so you could shave with this in the middle of the range, wherever you wanted to. So I am gonna actually start. It seems like it gets pretty aggressive pretty quick because the angle of the blade doesn't change. It just changes how far away the safety bar is from the blade. So I'm actually gonna start this at a 2 and see how that shaves. So as you know, no shave in November, and I'll be covering that more in detail tomorrow. But I'm just shaving my neck right now. So I'm gonna use the Tallow and Steel's First Snow, or not Tallow and Steel, Bear Stearns Man. I haven't been really into Bear Stearns Man a lot. A lot of the scents just haven't really done it for me, but and I would have never bought this on my own as a blind buy, but since I had it there to smell, it's not a favorite, but it smelled pleasant enough that I felt like getting something new and trading off some stuff that I didn't want anymore, so decided to give this a go. And just coming up on winter, we've already had our first snow a couple days ago. It's mostly all melted except for what's in the shadows, but we had a decent amount of heavy wet snow, so it made for a beautiful drive into work a couple days ago. I guess it was Thursday, snowed Wednesday night, I think. And just having some winter themed soaps seemed like a good idea. I've got the Christmas Eve from Sterling, and that smells amazing. If you're thinking about getting it, just get it. It smells really good. I'm also going to be purchasing from Oz Shaving Company one that they have called it's just called Winter, and it has a good mix of stuff in it, but the one thing that stands out is peppermint. So it really is an interesting blend. And again, I'm not shaving my cheeks, but I'm face lathering, so I want to use my entire face to build this lather up, and also use some of the moisturizing properties of the soap to help soften my beard and moisturize my entire face and not just my neck. So that's why I lather my whole face, even though I'm only going to be shaving my neck. So I've got the Rockwell 6S, and I'll have to do some more testing and comparison later, but I'm really curious how the settings 1 through 6 on the Model T are going to match up with the plates 1 through 6 on the 6S. So this is longer and heavier than a Fat Boy. I got a Fat Boy right here. So I don't know if anybody doesn't like the Fat Boy because of the stubby handle, maybe this would be an option for you. It's probably, I don't have one out right now, probably closer in length to the Slim, but it is just a hair smaller in diameter than the Fat Boy. But it's going to be a lot heavier duty than the Slim will. So this looks like a good razor. It's got some good heft to it. So we are going to see how this goes. Already, it's got some blade feel. A lot of blade feel. So actually, I don't even know if I would want to go. For me personally, I don't like aggressive razors. I don't know if I would want to go much past 2. And I can tell you right now, this is so much different from the 6S set on a 2. I couldn't even really shave with the 2 and the 6S because it was so mild. I mean, I could shave, it just didn't do very well for me. So I thought this was going to be something that I wasn't going to be able to dial up just for me personally, because as I was adjusting it and watching the difference in the gap, I could see that it wasn't changing the blade angle, and so once you got it separated so far, you were just going to be exposing more and more blade. So I don't know if this is going to be a razor that I'm going to keep right now off of the initial use. Because if I have to have it set super low, I don't know if it's worth it. And not that it matters where you set it as long as it's giving you good shaves, but even set at a 2, it's got a ton of blade feel, which I don't like blade feel. Oh, that was irritating. I have some previous irritation right here, and that just kind of exacerbated it. I'm going to turn this down to a 1. For my final pass. I know set at a 1, yeah, it's not doing anything at a 1. At a 1, the blade is sitting right on the safety bar. So I'm going to pull it off about a half. At a 1, that is or at a half, that is a very mild and very comfortable shave. I'm thinking for me, I need to be somewhere right in between there. Right in between a 1.5 and a 2. But this isn't a full evaluation of the razor because I'm only shaving my neck, and the neck is not the best place to be judging things off of. So once December comes around and I start shaving this, then I'll really give it a better evaluation and test out some more of the settings a little bit more. But that's where I am right now. So yeah, I'm just not a fan of aggressive razors, and that one just seems to get pretty aggressive pretty quick. So after the meetup yesterday, I went to the movie theater on the Air Force Base, and they had an advanced screening of Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. So I got to see that a week before anybody else can see it. And I got to see it for free. So that was a pretty cool end to my evening. Actually started off the day going to the VFW before my meetup, and we put flags up at the cemetery. We walked around, and any headstone that had any indication that the person had been a veteran, we put flags next to their graves. So we did that for the whole cemetery, which is just like half a block from the VFW, so we just walked over there. And then right after that was getting ready for the meetup, and then as soon as I had the meetup, went to the movies. So if you're a Harry Potter fan, you have to go see it. It's really good. And that's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to give anything away. But it is really, really good. I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan, but I do enjoy all the movies. So there's some things in it at the beginning that I wasn't understanding. So definitely going to watch it again. at some point. But I thought it was definitely better than the first Fantastical Beasts. So if you're a fan, you definitely have to go see it. So this was First Snow. Enjoyed the soap. Pretty much typical Barrister and Man performance from it. Aftershave feels pretty good. Really strong alcohol and menthol. So that's all I'm really smelling right now is the menthol, but it's a fur and leather scent. So once the menthol and alcohol burn off, I'm sure the scent will come through a little bit more. It's a very mild, subdued scent from the puck, which is good. Being the scent area that it's in isn't something that I would like it to be strong. Normally I prefer strong scents, but leather scents aren't something that I really like to be super strong. So the leather and fur, I think the balance is just about right. It could be a hair stronger, but it's probably about a 1.5 to a 2 on scent strength out of 5. But it's about right. So we'll see once the menthol dies down. This is really strong in the menthol. Like it's really coming through right now, and it's intensifying as I'm talking. But yeah, we'll see once that goes away how the scent is. I'm starting to get some of the leather out now, so I'm enjoying this. I guess Dave just didn't care for the scent. Both Daves. Went from Dave to me. So just, I guess, didn't care for the scent, but I'm digging it. It's not a favorite of mine, but it's definitely a good wintertime scent to help usher in the best season of the year. So that's my shave for today. Really enjoyed meeting everybody at the meetup. Got to see a few people for the second or third time, as I've seen them in previous meetups a couple years ago, and got to meet some new guys. And we'll be planning the next meetup for the springtime, probably March or April. And really just as soon as we find a place to have it, that's the biggest hurdle. Once we get a place, then we can nail down a time and start planning, and that'll be easy. Having the VFW is something that I can use just about whenever I want, as long as nobody else has reserved it. So it's easy for me out here, but I know a lot of people from Kansas City don't want to drive an hour and a half to get there. We did have somebody come from Columbia, which is 2 hours away, and most everybody else came from a Kansas City area. But I expect if we do have a meetup in Kansas City, we'll probably get a lot more people. Just people don't want to drive or be closer to home and don't want to have to drive back, whatever. But we'll have them all over the place if we can. If we can get meetups in Columbia or down south in Springfield and try to draw people from other areas and meet new and different people every time, that'd be great too. So I had a really good time. And again, happy Veterans Day, and thank you to all the veterans, everybody that I work with at the VFW. And yeah, we'll see you guys around on the forums. I'm Spider.